Today we're looking at the first year of World War I, 1914. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. Also, don't forget to check out dailybellringer.com where you'll find more resources that go with many of the Bellringer videos. After the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in late June of 1914, very quickly years of deteriorating relations and military growth in Europe led to a flurry of declarations of war between rival powers. The Allied powers, which included Great Britain, France, and Russia, faced off against the Central Powers, which included Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. On August 4th of 1914, the United States declared neutrality and would not become involved in the war on the side of the Allied powers until April of 1917. But before the U.S. entered the war, major fighting took place. In Europe, fighting could basically be divided into two fronts. The Western Front involved battles in which the French and British fought off German attacks. The Eastern Front focused on fighting between Germany, Austria-Hungary against Russian forces. As the fighting commenced, there was confusion within the Central Powers, as Austria-Hungary believed Germany was going to give most of their support to them in attacking Serbia and Russia. However, Germany had other plans. Germany's primary objective as the war began was to first invade France and eliminate them from the war, then turn their attention to Russia. Germany committed 80% of its forces to the French front. As a result, Serbian forces were able to fend off attacks by Austria-Hungary in August of 1914. The defeat of the 1914 invasion was the first major victory for the Allied forces during the war. At the same time, the German offensive into France was getting underway. Known as the Schlieffen Plan, the Germans purposely made their left front appear to be weak in order to lure French forces to attack there, while at the same time the bulk of their forces would attack the French left front and basically flank the French army and go all the way around their left side and push them back to Paris. In order for this strategy to work, the Germans would first have to invade Belgium to establish their position for the attack. On August 4th, 1914, the German invasion of Belgium began. Germany believed they would easily march through Belgium and prepare their army for their invasion of France. However, Belgian fighters stalled the German advance. At the Battle of Liège, 12 forts protected the city, and Belgian fighters put up a strong resistance. But after over a week of being shelled by German forces, the Belgians had to withdraw. On the eastern front of the war, Russia was attempting to push into Germany, but at the Battle of Tannenberg on August 26th, German forces were able to successfully fight off the invasion, but took heavy casualties. At the same time, German forces on the western front in France were successfully pushing Allied forces back. The German army pushed within 15 miles of Paris. On September 5th, 1914, the Allied forces organized a counterattack to the German advance at the Battle of Marne. The battle would last for 7 days until September 12th, but the Allies were successful in stopping the German advance, and Germany slowly withdrew. The Battle of Marne was a great morale boost for the Allied forces, but this early fighting came with a terrible cost. French forces had experienced over 260,000 casualties, that's killed, wounded, captured, or missing, in the first month of the war. In one single day, on August 27th, there were 27,000 French soldiers killed, the highest one-day total in the entire history of the French military. By October of 1914, Germany organized another attack on the left side of the Allied line at the Battle of Ypres in Belgium. But French, British, and Belgian fighters were able to repel the attack. As colder weather began to set in and basically a stalemate was forming on the Western Front, both sides began to dig in, and a close to 450-mile-long line of defensive trenches marked the divide between the Allied and Central Powers. For the remainder of the war, trench warfare would be the defining strategy and come to symbolize the fighting during World War I. On the eastern front of the war, German and Austrian forces organized an attack to capture Warsaw, Poland. Throughout October and November of 1914, intense fighting took place between Russian forces and Germany, but neither side was able to gain any ground. Also, there was significant fighting taking place between Allied and Central Power forces in Africa as well as in the South Pacific, as both sides fought to maintain control over several of their colonial holdings in these regions. 1914 had seen the opening shots of the war, and both sides attempting to bring the war quickly to an end by launching invasions on their enemies. However, both sides soon learned that the war would not be easily won. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.